Well, that middle school teacher in Rio Rancho won't be at school today because he is suspended, accused of roughing up a kid in class yesterday. And we talk with a parent who says her son was in that class.
He put his hands like near his neck, but then he grabbed him by the collar to make him sit down in a chair because I believe the student was acting out during class. He says it kind of frightened him, and he said that he had never seen a teacher do that before.
Well, all police are saying about this right now is that teacher was angry and acted out somehow because of that. Rio Rancho School District is not saying who the teacher is, but does say he teaches science and that he's worked for the district since October, and that whatever happened yesterday is, quote, very alarming. That teacher is on paid suspension right now and could ultimately lose his job because of this.
Police have identified the teenager who was hit and killed by an Amtrak train. His name was Jose Angel, and he was 16 years old. The Bernalillo High School freshman was walking home from school Wednesday when he was hit by the train. He had crossed the tracks while wearing headphones. Witnesses say the engineer sounded the horn at least 3 times. Jose's cousin spoke to us and says the family is devastated, but they want other kids to learn from what happened. Neighbors say kids often cross those tracks, not using railroad crossings. Bernalillo High School's principal is planning on bringing in a speaker to address the student body with that safety issue and talk to students about what happened. A former New Mexico journalist shot in Wednesday's office complex shooting in Phoenix will not survive, according to the law firm where he works. Police say the shooter, 70-year-old Arthur Douglas Harmon, went to the office building Wednesday to meet with a businessman he was suing and Mark Hummels, the businessman's attorney. Now, Hummels is a former reporter for the Albuquerque Journal and the Santa Fe New Mexican. Police say the suspect killed the businessman he went to meet, then shot a woman, and then wounded Hummels so badly that the law firm, as I mentioned, says Hummels is not expected to survive. The suspect is now dead. Police say the suspect was found yesterday with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Well, funeral plans are now being set for an iconic designer in Albuquerque who is famous for her jewelry, her antiques, and her big castle downtown. We have learned that Gertrude Zachary passed away recently. Her family says she's been sick for some time now. Ms. Zachary moved to Albuquerque back in the 60s. She started selling her very iconic jewelry on this small store on 2nd Street. She opened up 2 more after that, then built the big castle here downtown in 2008.
If you met her, she is a very contagious person. She will make you dream big. You know, go for it, do it, wear it. It doesn't matter how big, the bigger the better.
Gertrude Zachary here was 75 years old.
A federal jury has convicted 2 people of bilking the state and the feds out of millions. Armando Gutierrez and Joseph Kupfer had millions in contracts with the Secretary of State's office from 2004 to 2006. Now, this is back when Rebecca Vigil Giron held the office. The money apparently was used for consulting and to produce an ad campaign to get people out to vote. Well, the 2 men are convicted of overbilling the state by $2.5 million.
Well, legislators up at the Roundhouse now one step closer to giving you the chance on voting to make gay marriage legal here in New Mexico. A bill to change the state's constitution and do that passed a committee in the House yesterday. If both the House and the Senate approve it, you'll vote on it as early as next year.
2 Republican lawmakers have introduced a bold tax plan. Farmington Senator Bill Sharper and Representative Tom Taylor want to scrap New Mexico's income tax, corporate tax, and gross receipt tax, along with other special taxes and deductions. They'd replace it with a 2% state tax on every dollar spent in New Mexico, including wages and food, which aren't taxed that way right now. Anyone making less than $24,000 would get some or all of the money back in a tax refund. Some Democrats say that they are willing to consider the idea. An Albuquerque Democrat wants to give TV shows that film right here in New Mexico a big boost. Right now, movie and TV productions can get a 25% tax credit. Well, Representative Mo Maestas wants to give them 30% if they're here for at least 6 episodes.
When you watch Breaking Bad, for example, you know it's filmed in Albuquerque. You see the beauty of the panoramic view. TV shows also stay here longer, and they could run for multiple seasons.
Currently, the state can only issue $50 million in tax credits each year. Maestas' bill would allow any unused money to roll over into next year's budget. Governor Martinez says she is okay with the idea, but she opposes removing the cap altogether.
Well, good news for New Mexico's lottery scholarship program. Lotto sales are up, in fact, 11% in the last 6 months of last year. That brought in $7 million more than in that same time the year before. A lot of it has to do with that record Powerball jackpot back in November. The lottery scholarship program, as you probably heard, is running out of money. This should help, but it will not solve the problem. All right, unless you're living under a rock, particularly a very large rock, maybe a boulder, you know, we're just 2 days away from the Super Bowl that is right here on Channel 13.
And you know, just about anybody and everybody, they're talking about the big game, the commercials, Beyonce singing or lip singing the national
whatever
anthem.
it is.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the Super Bowl, and we wanted to hear what some of you are saying. So we sent our David Romero to the Frontier Restaurant in Nob Hill. David, good morning. How are folks doing this morning out there?
Good morning, Elizabeth. Well, you know, we told you guys about chicken wings yesterday. They should be in stock. And of course, we wanted to find out, as you mentioned, what everybody's thinking about the big game. So we are joined this morning by Earl. Earl, we know that your favorite team might not be in this year's Super Bowl, but what are you going to be watching for?
Well, I'm just going to be basically watching for halftime Beyonce. Yeah, yeah, I'm not a 49ers, or I'm basically a Saints fan. And so I say let the best team win.
Anything about, what do you think about, are you looking forward to the commercials?
Yeah, the commercials are always exciting, very exciting.
But number one, Beyonce, right?
Number one is Beyonce.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks, Earl. And Earl's got a great taste, I got to tell you. And now we are joined by Kent. Kent is going to tell us, who are you going for in the Super Bowl?
49ers.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be a big win over the Ravens?
No. Close game.
Close game. Well, what did you think about the lead up to this year's Super Bowl, the playoff games? How do you think the 49ers did?
Quite well. I'm especially rooting for their young quarterback, Colin, and I'd rather not try to pronounce the last name.
Nice. How about the commercials? Are you going to be interested in watching the commercials as well?
Not much in my case, but you know, I'm sure they'll be very popular like usual.
Kent, thank you so much this morning, and of course, we're going to be here back again next hour inside the Frontier, trying to seek out some more public input. But it should be a very good game, and of course, when all the stats we've heard, the 49ers are favored over the Ravens. So hopefully, it's going to be a good game, guys.
All right, we'll see if Kent is right, and I'm right there with Earl. I watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show, and especially Beyonce, who's not going to want to watch her. All right, David, thank you for that. Kickoff for the Super Bowl is a Sunday at 4:30 right here on Channel 13, and the pre-game show starts at noon. So there you go.